Well, there goes multiple hours of my life I'll never get back. Okay, everybody, today we're going all the way back to 1982 to look at a masterpiece of cinema history. We are talking about the one, the only, Nightbeast. But before we go any further, before we dig into this gem anymore, once again, and as always, to the trailer.
From another world comes the embodiment of fear.
What the hell was that?
Nightbeast, terror from beyond. A high-tech warrior from a distant planet. A killing machine with a taste for human flesh. A community abandoned in a code of silence.
Wicker never even called us state. They don't even know we have a bad situation here.
A love affair.
You know, you're a very attractive girl, Lisa.
Two people brought together by the urgency of the moment. Two people torn apart by the savage fury of Nightbeast.
I'm sorry, Jamie. There was nothing that could be done.
The most vicious creature to ever span the intergalactic void has come to pay its respects. This is the story of how the little people answer the big questions. See the movie that will change the face of modern science fiction cinema. Nightbeast, terror from beyond.
Alright, this motion picture was directed by Don Dohler. Not a big career, but here we go. He did The Alien Factor. He did Alien Factor 2, Alien Rampage. He did Blood Massacre, Fiend, Galaxy Invader, and basically this. So, there you go, in a nutshell. Alright everybody, this motion picture has a cast that you're not going to care about that basically all starred together in the same movies, and basically there's no way you're going to remember. But we're going to do it anyway. Playing Cinder, Sheriff Cinder, Tom Griffith. He was in stuff like Nightbeast, Alien Factor, Fiend, Night of Horror. Kardian, playing Lisa, was in, well, this movie, and that's about it. Don Leifert, who's really like a film historian teacher kind of guy, he was in Fiend, and Crawler, and Blood Massacre, and Alien Factor, and Galaxy Invader. And Frith, playing Ruth, she was in Barry's Gift, and Fiend, and Galaxy Invader, and Blood Massacre, and Alien Factor 1 and 2. And James Zemarel as Jamie. This and really some stupid little uncredited tiny dinky roles that you're not going to give a shit about. But the one you might remember the most is George Stover, playing Steven. He was in Female Trouble, Blood Massacre, Galaxy Invader, Fiend, Hairspray, Dracula's Widow, Alien Factor 1 and 2, Harvesters, Chainsaw Sally, Witch's Brew, Manos Returns, Camp Blood 666. So, he was in some things. You might remember him. Maybe. Possibly. Kinda. Okay, everybody, the story to this is really simple and stupid, and I'm really going to try to keep it short because I got other shit that's more important to do than review this motion picture, but it is what it is. Anyway, 90 seconds less, so we can keep it short, keep it fast, keep it entertaining, keep it moving, so we can get to where we'd much rather, well, usually spend the most time. The summation. This motion picture starts out, you got I don't know what it is, a spaceship, a spacecraft, or whatever, and all of a sudden, it crash lands on good old planet Earth. Well, there's this guy, he's a local, he runs to the sheriff's department, he goes, Sheriff, this thing just crashed out there, we have to go investigate it. The sheriff says, well, we got to bring Lisa in on it. Who's Lisa? Well, she's this little blonde sheriff deputy. I don't know what the hell she is, but she has to be there for some reason. At the same time, a bunch of campers, a bunch of guys out in the woodsies, they notice this thing going down, so they go to investigate the snitchimination. As they go to investigate the snitchimination, they get blasted by this angry, pissed off alien with a really unique looking dental situation. Anyway, they're all dead. Next thing you know, you see a father who happens to be driving with his kids in a station wagon in the middle of nowhere. Why? Who knows? But he's got to take a leak, so he leaves his car. And he pisses in front of his car, like 8 feet in front of it, by the headlights, not even in the bushes. We won't touch that anymore. As this is happening, the alien stumbles along, finds him, and takes him out. The kids go, oh, shit, and they start running. The alien says, oh, fresh targets, starts following them. As he's following them, they run, and they go near a house. What's at this house? This guy, making out with kind of a hot chick. And she goes, did you hear that? Somebody's approaching the house. Naturally. Anyway, he goes out to investigate the situation and runs into El Nightbeast, who simply puts him to death and basically does the same thing to the girl. Now, El Beasto is chasing those two kids again, who run back to the car to try to roll up the windows for whatever reason, and he disintegrates them. He's taking out kids now. He's not a nice El Beasto. Anyway, by that time, the sheriff, his little blonde girlie, and all the locals start to show up, and they say, holy shit, look, it's El Super Beasto. They go in there and they start firefighting it with this thing. But this thing's got a little dollar store ray gun that lays out more laser beams than anything you've ever seen in Star Wars. It never runs out of ammo. We get it. That's fine. Locals take a few hits. They're firing back with way more stuff than their little 6-shooters and double barrels can possibly do. But logic be damned. Anyway, the shootout takes place. It goes on for an inordinately long amount of time. And the sheriff says, we can't fight this power. We have to fall back. They go back to the main, well, I don't know, sheriff station, if you want to call it that, where Jamie, who's this guy that's with them, says, hey, basically, man, I know this guy. He's going to come and help us. He's a sharpshooter. So they go out looking for this thing again, where they have another ginormous shootout of epic proportions that goes on and on and on. But the old man sharpshooter and his son, played by the director, happen to show up and lend a little bit of a hand. Well, the director gets killed. Just a spoiler alert. And the old man does shoot the laser beam out of the thing's hand. Well, the gun, whatever the fuck you want to call this thing. I don't know. I'm rolling. Anyway, the creature takes off. They're nursing their wounds from, having people in their little party die. It is what it is. Next thing you know, the sheriff grabs this guy, Steven, from the medical facility, whatever, who cares. And they go out to look for the remnants of some body, is what it is. And while they're out there, they run into Drago, who's this local motorcycle hoodlum who just has nothing else to do but ride around on his little bike and talk shit to the cops. Go figure, we don't know. Next thing you know, they all go and they warn the mayor, hey, you got to get out of here. We got to evacuate the town. He says, I'm having a party for the governor. I got some hotties by the pool. He's coming. It's going to be what it is. Sheriff walks away disgusted, tells his little girlfriend, well, we're going to evacuate the town anyway. I don't care. Meanwhile, they go to tell this girl, who Jamie has something going with, hey, you got to get out of town. This isn't good. Whew. Well, you know how that goes. Well, right, actually, before that, Drago beats this girl up, because that's his girlfriend. Take it for what it is. And he smacks her around because he's saying that she's dating Jamie. You get the idea. But they show up and they warn her, you got to get out of here, blah, 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 blah. Drago sees the girl and goes back in there and kills her. This guy's, he's taking a dark turn. Meanwhile, they go back to the mayor's house and they clear out his house by telling him some fake bullshit story or whatever, and all the party guests leave, and the mayor's pissed off, and the governor's embarrassed. It is what it is. You don't care, I don't care, let's just keep moving. At the same time, the alien stumbles across the metal facility. He takes out a couple of the local guys that happen to be there, is what it is. And Steven and this doctor chick, Ruth or whatever, they run into the basement to get away from the alien. When he's down there, oh my God, they're scared. They're terrified, but the alien follows him down. But Steven says, if I throw some water on the floor, and much like in the thing from another world, I put some electricity into that water, I might be able to fry this bastard. And it works on a small scale, but it gives him enough time to get away. Next thing you know, Jamie, he goes out and he finds Drago, and he's really fucking pissed off that this guy killed that girl that he cared about. So they get into a fist fight that goes on and on and on. And actually, in the middle of it, their clothes change. Their clothes change. Their clothes change. Watch it. Their clothes change. It is what it is. So, Jamie beats the hell out of Drago, smashes his head into the ground 87 times, the blood's pouring out of his mouth. That, you would think that would have killed him. Not in this motion picture. Anyway, cut forward, you have the sheriff and his little sidekick, blonde-haired chick. They go out there looking for some, well, I don't know what they're doing, but they come across a dead body, and then they find the alien. Well, he's attacking them. So they run. They're like, oh, fuck this shit. They take off. As they're running, the sheriff hurts his leg. But it's okay. Lisa finds him again. And they go to a hotel room to lick his wounds. And that's where they say to each other, you know what? We got nothing going on. The world's kind of quiet out there. There isn't shit to do. Why don't we knock boots and have a little bit of sex in what has to be the most awkwardly filmed nude scene I have ever seen in my life between a 4'8" woman and a guy with the craziest fucking perm I have ever seen in my life. But it is what it is. Let's get past all of that. Anyway, you have Stephen, the doctor guy. You know what I'm talking about? He goes to warn the mayor and the mayor's plaything. Hey, you really got to get out of town. This thing is running around. It's killing everybody. It is what it is. Well, Stephen doesn't really protect them that well because the monster shows up and kills the mayor, takes out the chick. Just the way it goes. Well, the sheriff and his girlfriend show up and they say, oh my God, look at the mayor's decapitated. This isn't nice. This isn't kind. Let's go upstairs, start looking around a little bit more. As they do, Drago shows up again because no, he is not dead. So he attacks the little blonde-haired 4'8" deputy girl and he starts assaulting her. Well, sheriff jumps in, but he's not much help. But then Jamie shoots Drago and finally does take him out. Yay. Well, the little sheriff chick, whatever, Lisa, whatever her name is, she's gotten dirty. So they have to give her some new clothes. I think Ruth the doctor does it actually. And when she gives her new clothes, what does she give her? Yes, a pair of Jordache skin-tight painted-on jeans and a little red tank top that she clearly has to run around in with no bra for the rest of this motion picture. Because, as one does, when they take on aliens, Jordache jeans and satin fucking tank tops are the only way to go. Anyway, a few minutes later, Stephen and them, they're all looking around for this alien guy, and he dies. But his idea lives on of electrocuting the alien. So Jamie rigs up a bunch of fishing line, or wire, or whatever the fuck it is, between a couple of trees, and the alien's moving closer, and the alien's gonna attack, and the alien gets caught up in the wire, and they're like, oh my God, we gotta throw the switch, and for reasons that make no logical sense, Jamie says, no, you have to throw it with me holding it, or else it ain't gonna work. And he gets fried, and the alien dies, and that's the end of the movie. I gave away the end of the movie because you really aren't gonna care. So, it is what it is, that's the flick. Let's get going to the summation. Alright, everybody. Should you watch Nightbeast? Yes, you should. Now, I know. This movie is shit. This movie is just shit. It's shit. Everything about it is shit. But you should watch it for one reason. And we'll get to that. Let's get the big three out of the way. The directing, it looks like shit. It looks horrible. The directing makes something like Bogey Creek look like a masterpiece of cinematic history. So, and forget it, Creature of Black Lakes looks like fucking The Godfather compared to this. So the directing is absolute trash. You're not going to care. It's shit. The writing, it's so bad and so bland and so stupid that it's almost offensive. The dialogue is crap. It was written by the director, by the way. It is what it is. The story has plot holes. The dialogue is shit. None of that matters. Forget it. And finally, the acting, or lack thereof, is so wooden, so lame, and so sad that you're almost like, I can't tolerate this. But yet it's intriguing. The sheriff and his girlfriend are devoid of any kind of acting skills whatsoever. I'm not going to remember the actors' names. I just don't give a shit. The guy Stephen, strangely, because he just looks, I don't know. He's I don't know. He's kind of the guy you're kind of rooting for because he just looks like he's so, I don't know, just like goofy. You kind of root for that guy, and that's about all you got going. But the rest of the cast, Ruth is actually semi-okay. I mean, the doctor, whatever. But the rest of the cast, the acting is shit. Drago is corny. Everybody sucks. It's just the way it is. Don't look at this for acting. Now, with all those things being said, why would you ever want to watch this motion picture? Well, frankly, It's just so bad. It's just so goofy. It's just so stupid. It is actually entertaining as shit. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you you're gonna watch this multiple times, because you are not. I'm not gonna sit there and tell you that this movie is a classic, because it is not. But for something that's intriguing, for something that is just so bad and so goofy and so silly, I think it's worth a look. And you know me. I love when people say, let's go make a movie, and they go out and they raise a couple bucks and they say, we're going to do this and try to do this, even though we probably have no right to do this. We're going to make it happen anyway. I love that spirit. I love that attitude. And this motion picture has it. I think they made the whole thing on like 40 grand or some stupid shit like that. And it shows. It shows that, because this is a FTO type of movie. When I say FTO, what is that? It means first take only. First take only. Film and time cost a lot of money on a motion picture. Something that a motion picture like this does not have. So if you're filming a motion picture like this, the first thing you're going to say is, take, works. No matter what comes out of the actors, no matter how they do it, no matter how shitty everything looks, you're going to say, good, we got it, let's move on. And that's what these guys did. Honestly, in today's day and age, you could film a better motion picture with a cell phone and a laptop. Maybe even a flashlight or two. And you would get better looking results. It's out there. You can see people do it all the time. You could get better results. But we're going back 40 some odd years. And that kind of shit didn't exist back then. These people had to go out. They had to get film. They had to get film stock. They had to bring some kind of lighting rig, although it doesn't look like much. And they had to go out there and actually try to make this motion picture. And for that, it has a charm. It has a almost naivety to it. Almost a just like, a little rascals, let's go make this thing happen. And plus, although this movie fits into like low budget alien flicks, especially the motion pictures that the director did otherwise. I mean, it's almost like retelling the same goddamn story over and over again. It's whatever. If you go look into his career, you'll find out what I mean. But again, it has that simplistic charm of, we're going to get a guy in a silver suit. We're going to put the worst mask on him that we could humanly find. It's not going to look real. It's not going to look authentic. We're going to have him run around the goddamn woods chasing a bunch of people that are just in the area. Whatever. We're going to have a lead actor who's rocking a perm that he didn't have in the other movies, and he just looks friggin' bizarre. We're going to put him in the scene with this girl and have the most weird, awkward, strange love scene that I have ever seen in a motion picture before or since. And we're going to sit there and try to tell this little shit story that we've kind of told before and make it entertaining. Do they succeed? In a real sense, no. I mean, come on. It looks like shit, sounds like shit, acted like shit, lit like shit, directed like shit, everything is shit. But when you put that much shit together, much like an Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, or something like that, sometimes, just sometimes, you hit pay dirt. And this motion picture is one of those examples. Go out there. It's free basically everywhere. Watch it. It's not good. It's not well planned. But for sheer shits and giggles, and an oddity factor, and an oddity charm that it has in bucket loads, Nightbeast is something you should check out while falling asleep at night when you're like, I don't know if I'm going to make it through this, and you can pick it up the next day or whatever, you know what I mean? You're not going to care. That's when you put it in. That's when you watch it. And I bet you'll probably make it to the end. Even like, I got work in the morning. This thing sucks, but I gotta finish this. I gotta finish this. It just is what it is. I have to be there. All right, everybody. Be good, take care, stay out of trouble, be kind to a stranger, be there for a friend, and most of all, never, ever take any bullshit from anybody. But get out there and watch this thing and let me know what you think. Be good.